planning, right? And so why would I not respond? But that's just in general, right? It could be anything. It could be anybody. It could be anyone in my family. It could be anyone in any walk of life.
Yeah.
Right? But successful people are fantastic communicators. Always remember that. So when people turn around and say, oh, I didn't respond because I was busy, it's nonsense. There's 24 hours in a day. You're trying to tell me there wasn't a moment which would take you 10 seconds to respond on a message. You're telling me you could not find 10 seconds.
I want us to talk about that in this because that's my thing at the moment. I'm like, guys, we all have time. Like, it takes 10 seconds, 1 minute. It doesn't take that long.
But then people will happily spend a couple of hours watching Netflix. Maybe respond.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
maybe
when
respond.
they're comfortable. Yeah. For me right now, I the reason I'm not responding is because I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So even my response won't be a wholehearted response because I'm overwhelmed with the content and I have to do this, I have to do this. So then sometimes I'm just like, it's my fight or flight. That's what I'm at. So once I start having processes or people who can handle things, also within budget.
But that's important, right? Because in a business, let's be honest. So I respond to everyone in a timely manner because anything business related doesn't go through me, right? It has to go through JJo, right? So that's something that I don't need to deal with.
Okay.
I deal with just students' questions, and even that to some extent is never really, never everything coming to me. But general questions and for family and for friends and general conversation, I'm always responding because something was interesting. Someone said to me recently that they will respond to people that need to be responded at that time, and other people who are not so important, they kind of push down the line, and sometimes they forget, so they message them the next day. So I don't like that at all. So you are prioritizing people. We're all human beings, right? Do not prioritize people. So what is it? Because someone's uber successful, so they got to be replied to first over someone that is not.
Yeah.
Guys, where is your moral compass here? Where's your ethical code here? Right? And so, like, I am not a fan of that. I don't agree with that at all. And so,
I agree.
now when it comes to communication, look, if you've got a lot of junk and stuff like that, you know what you do? You spend some time and you basically
clear it all out.
But not even clear it all out. You're going to keep getting spam. You're going to keep getting junk. You have to unsubscribe yourself from all of these websites, right? Go to porn.com, right? It will tell you what type of email address in it, and what it will do. It will bring up all of the websites that are affiliated with you that have had a data breach.
Okay.
So there's a lot of times you will get spam and you'll get junk and you don't even know, but I didn't sign up to that. That's why. So you do two things. You use your actual mailing account to tell them to block this email every time it comes, or you literally go onto that email, click unsubscribe and go through it. And it might be a tedious process, but my God, I don't have any outstanding emails. It's just done. It's just easy.
No, I clear my emails on a daily basis. I don't need
all of my stuff, to be fair, all of my stuff. The longest response you'll ever get is maybe an Instagram video.
Yeah.
But that's when I see it because my team have access to my social media.
Oh, I see.
Right?
I see.
Yeah. And then so I have to just scroll through quickly, just make sure that, okay, cool. Kaajal, you sent me something. Cool. I click it like a video. And so that's that. So other than that, I'm not into all this. I'm busy.
Yeah.
Everyone always claims that they're really busy.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I think because I'm at the stage of growth, but as I mentioned earlier, like in Zambia, there's just no money for what I'm doing. So I haven't, as much as I'm providing so much value to people, I'm not getting paid for it. So I'm getting tired. And then as a result, I'm trying to do everything myself. And people are doing some pro bono stuff for me. But even that, it's just, you can't rely on someone who's not there fully. If I were in their position, I would rather be paid and say, right, this needs to be done over the month. But right now, I'm not even in that position. So that's why I'm doing it all at the moment. So it's like, I have people helping me and I'm grateful. Like people are they're being rallied and they're like, we just want to be part of this whole process you're doing because you're helping people.
Yeah.
But in that process, it's still a business at the end of the day. And so I, as a human being, am feeling overwhelmed, and then therefore I can't get back to people in the right way. So it's taking me time, and I don't want that because there's reputation at the end of the day. So I'm at that crux of growth, but then there's old versions of me and old like systems, and I'm trying to break through
back.
That. Yeah.
Is it the control element where you want to be involved in everything?
Partly, but I'm happy to let it go if I know that the people who are doing this for me are also of the same mind. So the girl who's videoing me,
right?
She's in my head half the time. She's like, okay, we're just going to cut this out. She knows how to edit the videos. Perfect, beautiful. 20 years old. I'm like, wow. But I'm not paying her. So, I mean, I'll pay her bits and pieces, but she has to have a full day job. She's still studying. She's doing things. So she won't always prioritize my work, and therefore I'm delayed. So right now in my head, I've got content on phones. I've got like given her a list. I'm like, I need this, but then there'll be
But then you can't
nothing.
put the pressure because obviously the individual's not getting
The
paid.
full
So
pay, yeah.
so and that's just unfortunately, no matter how much people like you, no matter how much people are embedded in your vision or your project,
It's still
if you don't pay them, you will always see a whole different side to people, right?
And that's the thing. I even told her, she's like, look, I'm not gonna, shaft you for money, but just tell me what you can give. And I have been giving her.
Yeah,
and I even tell her, I'm like,
yeah.
listen, I also don't want to go ahead with videos, even though it's hurting my things, until you're paid. I told her, I was like, before coming to Dubai, I want to clear you because I don't want it at the back of my head. So I do my part as best as possible, but then sometimes it's just like, that's when I frustrate myself. I'm like, but I'm doing so much. Why am I not
So
getting
I got a question, and we'll come to your growth and stuff in a minute. The question is, and by the way, don't worry about this, right? Everything will just be filming. We do a lot of this stuff, and so you just
figured
you
we've already
just
started.
yeah we do we just go with the flow. So I got a question for you. So let's say, for example, you do something, you do a little project. Let's say you get paid £500 for that, right? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Would you then take that £500 and then like, great, perfect, fantastic? Or if you've got someone, not if you've got someone, or would you take that £500 and hire someone and all that money is now gone? What would you do? Take that £500, use it for yourself, business, whatever, or take that £500 and give it to someone who helps you out with some of the admin, some of the bits and pieces, the communication? What would you do?
I would probably not give the whole amount, probably take about a half or a little bit more,
Right.
give it to that person. At least then I've got a buffer for anything business related. And that, let's say 300 has gone to that person, they can do it.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a hypothetical situation.
Yeah, because the reason I said that is because time.
Yeah.
Time is the one thing that we all need, right? For you had to have done something to get that £500 in the
Yeah,
first place.
yeah.
So if you were to now give certain tasks, give the 500 to this other individual that you've hired, right? And so now they're looking after A, B, C, and D. That's giving you time. And when you have time, you're able to do more of what you initially done.
Of what you're good at.
Yes,
well.
exactly. Of what you initially done to get that £500 in the first place. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it becomes 500, another 500 here, another 1,000 here, another 2,000 here. And then that just becomes a 500 to that employee.
100%.
Yeah. That
Is
and
running.
So, exactly. So a lot of people get swept up in, and I see it a lot, especially here in Dubai, that there's some people that I know that are like, we had Brandon, fantastic. He's another trader, came on a podcast. We've had him a couple of times now. And he's all saying, Pri, I'm struggling. I'm a one-man band. Right. And I also say, got to. But then he just cannot let go because it's his baby. And I get that. Everyone's got their baby. Right. PA Effects is my baby.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but for me to get the time to do what I'm good at, I had to let go. Right. And it is letting go of your baby.
Yeah.
And to do that. And your expense bill will start to rise, because then once you get one person and they do this, and then you start to tell yourself, actually, what if I were to hire someone else to go and do this now? And then someone who does that now, and all of a sudden, you might think, oh my God, but it might cost me this, it might cost me that, it might cost me that. But then the time you get to do what you want to do, that's invaluable.
Yeah,
right?
100%. There's no price tag.
100%, because the way I look at it, in life, the one commodity
time.
Is time.
Yep. Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
That's all I want.
I'm not too fussed about letting go because I love delegating. The only issue I have is and I'm very good at reading people, it's trying to find people who, I'm not saying think like me, probably think better than me. And that's why I'm like, I'm so fast in my brain to now try and train someone. I don't have the time to be training them. If I could, I would. But you also be able to read if they're trainable.
Right.
And so, for example, my social media girl, why I love her is because she already got, the reason I chose her is because I saw her videos. And she's a friend. She was actually a model in one of my shoots. And she happened to be filming one of my talks. And the guys who were supposed to film it cancelled on the day.
Right.
So I called a friend. He brought in like the best of the best. And it was a great video. But I just brought her in as backup. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of like my test. It's almost like the universe just gave me that moment. And I saw her video and I'm like, I like her edit. It's more feminine. It's more me. It's younger. It's energetic. And then since then, she just wants to be part of the vibe. But in that process, she can't do because she understands my situation. The thing is, yes, I've got money to put towards it, like my own money, dipping into savings. But that's not the point. Like the business has to grow so that I can pay her. So she gets that. So like finally now I've got a paid talk coming up. So she's like, yeah, you have, but she's not asking like, here, pay me. But she's happy that it's growing. So she's like, just be patient. As they grow, we'll do things. So I'm grateful she's got that thinking. But to find that is few and very rare.
Yeah.
So
but growth takes time though.
Yeah, and the thing is with me, I've always been 10 years ahead of the game, like in my head. Like when I first did my suits, I remember way back in the day, I was doing my suits in Zambia, and everyone thought I was mad for using like local Zambian fabric to be like on the inside. And it was very, it was a beautiful fusion between like European and like African and all of that. People thought I was mad. Today, 10 years later, more than 10 years later, every tailor in Zambia does chitenge suits. It's called chitenge. And I'm like, you guys thought I was mad.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, even now with the diabetes work that I'm doing, I'm irritated because I'm like, I've been for the past 10 years. My ear's on the ground. People come to me for, even the doctors. They send patients to me because they, no offense, doctors, they have like only 15 minutes, right? They don't have any more time to give to someone. Whereas I can hold someone's hand, and I've been doing it my whole life. Like so many young girls, they come up to me and I see them blossom, and they're like, because of you, we've done this, and I'm like, wow, you know what? I'm happy. This makes my life, but. At the same time, I can't survive on compliments and fresh air, you know?
It's hard. So look, running a business is very hard. I don't think, it's just like taxes, mortgages, and trying to be an entrepreneur. I don't think it's talked about enough, right? And so I don't think a lot of people quite understand that the whole fantasy is if I drop my 9 to 5, start a business, I'm going to be sorted for the rest of my life. What people don't realize,
It's a 24-hour
it's
job.
24 hours. Like it is 24.
Your 9 to 5 is cut and you're going to do a 24 hour.
When I tell people life was easier, like I'd look at the camera and say life was easier, when I had a 9 to 5.
Oh no, sometimes I'm just like, you know what, screw it. I get it too.
Sometimes my wife tells me, she says to me, Priyesh, how would life have been if we would have stayed doing 9 to 5s?
Yeah.
And, I think about it sometimes, right? And I get asked this, and would I ever change things? No, because if you look at how we live and where we've gone to, of course, right? We live we've grown in life, right? So that's it. That I would never give up, right? But what would have life been being the same way? I don't know. I couldn't answer that question because I'm not in that situation, right?
Yeah.
But it really is true. But business is not talked about enough. The difficulties, the complexities, the
nuances.
100%. There's a lot of people out there, and we had a great conversation with Neil Patel, right? He was on our podcast as well, Blue Sky Thinking, and
I like him.
yeah, it's a great business concept that he's got. So he'll take startups, people with ideas, and take a business and then magnify it. And the whole aim is over the course of 2, 3, 4 years, get it to a place where it's a certain multiple and then sell it. So everyone's winning. So it's fantastic. Neil's great, and we spoke a lot about business, how many businesses fail within the first few years, etc. That's why there is a very small niche out of, let's say, 100 businesses, only 8 survive, which is crazy, you know. And when I mean 8 survive, they go past the first few year stages. Now, thankfully for me, touch wood, we're 7 years in now, right? So we're okay. But that doesn't mean that PFX is incredibly successful and it turns over crazy money and multi-millions and stuff. No, it's hard. It is very, very hard, especially in a toxic industry.
Yeah. And you're providing a service which people need. So you have, at the end of the day, also you have to think energetically. I'm a huge believer in like business being spiritual, money is spiritual. And like if you're providing a service to people of some sort to help them do something better in their life, that is also, how do I say, it's not even like unseen money, but it's unseen value that you're providing, which it may not, as you say, like not be turning, you know, millions of dollars or millions of pounds per year, but you're providing a value which doesn't have a price to it. And so you might not see it in these 7 years, but you'll see it. Like I know for like the diabetes work I do, I'm not going to see it now. It might be the next generation that'll see it. And I had an inkling of this the other day. So there's been quite a few young diabetics I've been helping. And one girl said to me, the mom said to me, so the young girl's 7, I love her. When I look at her, she reminds me of me when I was first diagnosed. And she said to me, she's like, Kaajal, I keep showing her your videos because I want her to know that this is normal and that if you can do it, she can. I want her to be an ambassador or some sort of advocate when she's older. And I didn't think of it. I was just looking at what I was doing and how I'm helping this generation and next. But I didn't see that the work I'm doing, the value I'm giving, the money I might not even see. The next generation will definitely see it. So I might not see it in this lifetime. So it's something which, again, business, you have to think about it from a spiritual point of view. I know as I say, you can't survive on compliments and fresh air. As long as you're able to cover your basics, I think there's something bigger than it. Like going back to 9 to 5, like if you have a 9 to 5, yeah, it's cool, comfortable. But if something is laid on your heart to do, like this, I think all of us entrepreneurs, we're hungry for something which is outside of the 9 to 5. We'd be comfortable, but we kind of get a thrill of living on the edge. Like, what's going to happen tomorrow, you know? Which a lot of people, they don't have, as in your words, the kahunas to do.
It's true. People don't know mucho grande cojones. You need cojones to do certain things, take risks, right?
Yeah.
Life is about that, and that's why you will always have that 1% and 99%, because 90% just will not do that, right?
Yeah.
But if you do what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. It's
100%.
as simple as that, right? So you've got to make a step change.
Isn't that Einstein saying, like, doing the same thing over and over, expect a different result, or it's insanity?
Yes, it's exactly that. Cool, let's do this. Right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we digress, but here we are. So we are now going to spin back and then welcome to Memoirs of a Trader podcast. If you have not subscribed, then you've got a bit of a screw loose. So hit that subscribe button, make sure you like and leave any comments. And and then also let me know who you would like to see on Memoirs of a Trader as well. Because that's also important, because we'll try to get the guests that you guys want as well. And so today I am thrilled to present Kaajal Vaghela. Now I'm going to read this out. Because this is interesting, right? Check this out. Check this out as well. This is interesting, right? Look. So, number one, she's Zambian raised. Right? Zambian raised. South Asian, female type 1 diabetic. Right? Creative director at Kaajal Vaghela Fashions. Model. Fitness and wellness enthusiast. Diabetes speaker. Author. NFT enthusiast. Tech geek. Wow. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Right, that's a real
There's a
time.
drum roll
That's
there.
a real time entrepreneur. So anyway, welcome to Memoirs of a Trader.
Thank you for having me.
And so I guess with everything that I've just said, tell everyone about yourself.
Oh my goodness.
In a nutshell, tell us about you.
I think you did the nutshell. I'm going to be like talking, I'm going to tell you quite a lot. I have been a serial entrepreneur since I was like so young. I just wanted like so much in this life. I don't even know where to start. Like my mind is just so fast. Like in this process, I've already had certain ideas. Like, and to explain that to anyone, I think they would be like mad. It's like Disneyland in my head. But everything has always boiled down to the diabetes. And I've been on a journey recently where I've realized I've done sportswear. I started with suits, actually, clothing design based on where my family business comes from. So we've done school uniforms in Zambia for the past 60 years. But then my grandfather's also a tailor. So like clothing is in my blood. And so it was a natural progression for me to start my own brand. But then I realized in that process, it was me testing my own self. What can I do as a diabetic? But I didn't bring it to the fore. It was like in like the blind spot in my mind. And then that business changed it pivoted into sportswear during the pandemic. Then also during the pandemic, I wanted some creativity. And again, through NFTs and AI and all of that, I was like, ooh, I can create a little character. And I wrote a book about diabetes. Again, little jelly bean character, he's full of sugar. Trying to explain diabetes in the most simplest of ways. So it's almost like an onion, as I've been doing so many different things from like the modeling. Again, the modeling was another thing. The reason I feel I'm so energetic and I look so young is the diabetes. But my whole life, I'm not going to say it's because of that. I've just been doing what I can. And I happen to have just been given a lot of big breaks. The universe has always been on my side, in my favor. And I'm like, I've managed to model. I managed to create a clothing line. I managed to pivot the clothing line. A book came along. But at the base of it, in this little journey I've gone through, especially more recently, I've peeled away so many of these different layers. Modeling's gone, okay, now we're going to do this, now we're going to do this. And then in the process of me helping people with diabetes, again, just because my heart, I don't want others to go through what I went through, the coaching came about. And now I'm like, oh, it's because I am a diabetic. And this is something which now the world needs because of the way things are changing at the moment. And I'm like, that was the reason for everything. And that's something which I was diagnosed with at 5. But again, growing up in an entrepreneurial family, my mom's a very homely woman. So it's like that combination of being nurturing, but being entrepreneurial, because I just want to give to the world, because I, as a 5-year-old, felt very alone. And so now everything is as a result of making sure everyone is comfortable, healthy, happy. It's like me put into the world. Like,
Right. And it's what's interesting, something you said, that a lot of the ventures that you've taken, you believe that it's because of your diabetes
Yeah.
that it's allowed you to take that venture. So you're an advocate for diabetes awareness. So tell the audience a little bit more about that.
So I'm a type 1 diabetic. Been diabetic for 33 years, giving away my age here.
So what does type 1 diabetic mean for people that don't quite understand the differences? What is a type 1 diabetic?
So type 1 is an autoimmune condition. I hate to use the word disorder or disease because that means there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you.
Correct.
It's a condition. Yes. It's just something in the pancreas just malfunctioned. Basically, the white blood cells decided to attack the islets of Langerhans, which make the insulin. You need insulin to break down anything that you're eating, from glucose to usually glucose, like carbohydrates, to even protein or fat. They're all going to be broken down. But carbohydrates broke down to simple sugars, functions your body. But the problem with diabetes is that insulin is now not being made full stop. Not because, I ate too many sweets when I was younger. It's genetic. Nothing. There is still today no reason why type 1 happens. They say it could be trauma to the body, or it could be because you had some sort of viral infection.
Wow.
Now, when I was 3, we were on a holiday in Mauritius, mum, dad, me. Did my sister come? Yeah, my sister was there. And I, me being me, happy chappy, maybe slightly flirty, chatting to all the guys at the bar, like the bartenders, 3-year-old girl, like da-da-da-da-da, giving me all sorts of like Fanta, Coke, and they were cold drinks. So my mom was like, it's in Gujarati, you say thundi, you've caught a cold. And so I think I may have caught some sort of cold that turned into a viral infection because I was coughing a lot. This is the only thing I can think of.
They can think of,
because I was a very healthy, happy child.
So there's a reason, because obviously you said that there's no actual evidence-based reason as to why people can't be...
Scientists, doctors have no clue.
So there's got to be another reason as to why an individual would get it. And so now you're mentioning this story.
It's the only thing I can think of.
Right, it's interesting because I, for one, didn't know that there was no actual specific reason.
Type 1. Type 2 is
type
different.
1, yeah.
Okay. So I thought maybe like my body's manifested it. Right. Maybe it was just playing like latent in my body. And then even when I was diagnosed at 5, even then, my mom as a mom could see like, okay, my daughter's not 100%. Intuitively, as behaviorally, you're going to see human to human, things are just not right. But according to the blood tests, and we were in the UK at the time, my sister was getting married, there was a family function, the blood test said I was fine, like pancreatic function was fine.
Right.
But this is why like the beauty of like the nuances of being human, like, you can tell like when the vibes are off, the energy is off. And I was like, nah, my daughter's not right. And it was the wedding time. I was holding to my mom's sari. Everyone was playing and I wasn't with my cousins. And my mom's like, but they couldn't diagnose
she's
me.
She's got a gut feeling.
Yeah.
That's the intuition talking
Gut
here.
feeling is always, and mother's intuition, always right, I always say.
100%.
So then we happened to go back to Zambia and I was losing weight. She would like try and dress me for school and like my underwear would just fall off. Then I'd wee my bed at night because again, these are symptoms of diabetes: frequent urination, weight loss, thirst, irritability, because the body is like, there's honey like going through your blood, like the sugar is so much in you're sludgy. So you're going to be irritable. Right. And so my mom's like, no, let's take her to South Africa. And I think by that time, so the diabetes must have been in a honeymoon phase. So during the time in the UK, it must have been like August time.
Yep. By
September, October, within like a couple of months, I think that's when it fully manifested. But I think it was in my body since I was 3. I have a funny feeling. And as soon as I got to South Africa, they put me on insulin straight away. They're very proactive there. Huge change. My mom was like, my daughter's back. She's energetic. She's like, happy chappy. And so put on insulin straight away and been on insulin.
And again, what is insulin for people that don't know?
Insulin is, what's this? This little pen I keep with me. It's the enzyme that's made by your pancreas that breaks down the glucose that you eat. So in order for the glucose to actually go into your muscles, into your brain, to function the body, not necessarily to go and run, just basic functionality, the insulin has to break down any glucose so that it can go into muscles, go into parts of the body to function it.
So you're injecting insulin?
Yes.
Interesting. And so that's type 1?
That's type 1.
So what's type 2?
Type 2 is what we're seeing more nowadays. So type 2 is more of a lifestyle condition. It can be reversible. It is fairly genetic. So, and this is where I focus on what I do, is in communities of color, we're more predisposed genetically to be having type 2 diabetes. Wider waistline, the way we're living nowadays, everyone's eating convenience, etc. People are not exercising. We have desk jobs. It's that whole obesogenic
right
style. So that's where type 2 comes in. Again, it's also related to things like PCOS and insulin resistance. There's so many different nuances around it. But going to the basics, bare basics, type 2 is more lifestyle based. It is when let's just say you are eating burgers and fries every single day, and you're at a desk job, and you're just not keeping your heart strong. You're not keeping the functionality of your body strong. I compare the pancreas to being like a car. So imagine you've got like a beautiful car there, and now you're putting diesel instead of petrol. You're not taking it out for its drives, you're not cleaning it, and then suddenly you're like, right, I'm going to drive to Birmingham if you're like from London.
And then it breaks down.
Not even break down. You're revving it, and you're pushing it.
And it's not going.
So it's going, but it's like, imagine every rev is like the insulin. So you eat a burger, insulin. Then you rev, you're burning it from the inside. So that wear and tear that would have been happening to, let's just say in our grandparents' stages, what's happening at them at 70 or 80, because your body is aging, right? Things are going to wear and tear. But if you are now causing that wear and tear at an earlier stage because of the food you're eating, your lifestyle, etc., that's what's causing the type 2 diabetes younger because of the lifestyle. So the unfortunate part is media, everyone around you, they just bung diabetes, type 1, type 2, gestational, everything all in one.
Correct. They just say diabetes.
You're just a bad person because you ate crap. And you're like, but that's not it. It's just you've been putting your body under stress, and that's type 2. And that's attracting the attention of Hollywood, media, newspapers, etc. So people only listening to that part, not realizing that actually there's different versions. What I have is different. What others have is different. The training around it is similar. But I say that revving, you're burning the engine from the inside. You're burning your pancreas from the inside. And at some point, kaput, it's done. So what used to happen at 70, 80 years old is now happening at
much
19, 20.
earlier, right?
Yeah.
But we live in this generation, right? We live in a time when 2024 and 2025, by the time this probably goes out, where everything has changed. Everyone's eating habits have changed, working habits have changed, lifestyle habits have changed as well. And what's interesting is that not once you mentioned sugar.
Yeah, it's not necessarily sugar. It's the
Say that to that camera.
It's not necessarily sugar. It's the quality of carbohydrate and lifestyle.
See, a lot of people just associate and assume it's because of sugar. And you're right. Everyone puts kind of diabetes in one category. Now, what's more dangerous, type 1 or type 2?
I'd say type 2. Type 1 is more volatile. So for my type, like for example, menstrual cycle, sugars go up and down. If let's just say, got a bit stressed about something, there's cortisol, there's adrenaline going in the body. It's like a roller coaster.
Like that's right.
Down. Yeah. Whereas a type 2, there is some sort of insulin being produced, or there's insulin resistance. Like it's there, but the body can't use it. But that's your own doing, because I mean it could be again PCOS.
But you also mentioned genetically, you can genetically get it.
Yeah. So if you've got we all have some sort of gene for it. You can switch it on by lifestyle. Again, epigenetics.
Right. So you can trigger it basically.
You can trigger it. Yeah.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I didn't do anything. So for type 1s, again, I'm very spiritual. I'm like, God just picks the few. Like, okay, you've got some jobs to get done, and this is why I say this is my calling to do. But type 2. To a certain, if you already know you're predisposed, make sure your lifestyle is healthy enough to not switch on or get that trigger going, So going back to your question, like for me, menstrual cycle, maybe having a bit of coffee. We had coffee earlier on.
Yeah.
I wish there's an app. I've been trying to get it where you can keep thing on here. You can see how the sugars go. So when I go on stages, when I'm talking to people, again, you're going to have adrenaline. You're going to have cortisol running through your body. My sugars tend to go high in those moments.
Is that something you have on you physically?
I've got my little sensor that checks my blood, and I can check it on my phone. But again, let's see if it can pop up. They were a little bit high earlier. Yeah, they're high. 15.
Right,
it's
cool.
supposed to be under.
And could do me a favor, take a screenshot, and then what we're going to do, let's put it on the screen so people can actually see exactly what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
As well, because that's interesting as well.
Yeah.
Right, when we talk about the yo-yo effect with this, we can actually see that. So that's.
I mean, this is a bit of stress, I took my insulin and then I ate and then I had coffee, whether I've had enough or not. So again, I'm acting as a pancreas.
Right.
Type 1.
So does coffee help?
No. Because, I mean, it makes no difference if you're going to have a sugary coffee, of course.
No, I don't have sugar in coffee.
But
I don't have sugar in tea. I don't have sugar basically in anything.
But, for example, coffee is going to increase your caffeine. It's going to increase then your adrenaline, cortisol, because it's trying to give you energy in the body. Going back to fight or flight mode, back in the day, if you're, fight or flight, if a bear is coming for you, bear doesn't have to be a bear. It could be just stress. It could be the car that's coming in front of you. Your body's going to need glucose to make you run, right? To be ready. So as soon as...
Energy.
Yeah. So as soon as adrenaline, cortisol for any stressful situation comes up, glucose will also come up. Which is why, and a lot of people think I'm a very calm person. I have to find ways to keep myself calm because I'm trying to keep the levels of
Keep
sugar.
balance.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's tough because sometimes I'm like, I'm going to beat someone.
Do you feel like you want to explode?
Yeah. But I really try my best on, like I did a talk in London a couple of months ago about mindfulness, and I call it kindfulness because it's like, in order to be kind to myself and to others, I need to be mindful of myself and keep everything calm. And even when I'm expressing anger or sadness or whatever, I have to say, I'm feeling this way, and therefore it's affecting my sugars. So please, XYZ, this is what I need right now.
So you're telling yourself that.
I'm telling myself that, and I'm learning now to vocalize it with others, because the thing is, a lot of people don't realize, like, I look fine all the time, but they don't realize like right now, you couldn't tell my sugars are high.
Yeah, 100%. The internal, people don't see.
Yeah.
So by you telling yourself that, and that helps you
Regulate. I'm not saying the sugars will always drop, but I'm trying my best to eliminate factors that'll make it go high.
That's interesting.
Whereas type 2, going back to so for example, you are producing some sort of insulin. So why would you now be eating burgers and fries when you can actually have like a brown bread sandwich or a salad or something that's not going to cause a high spike or have because there's a glycemic load. So glycemic index is something that is the rate of absorption of glucose in the body. So for example, and again, this goes down to even being productive on a daily basis. So if you're going to do trading or you're going to do something for your day, you're productive, you need energy, but you need sustained. You don't want to spike and then drop. You want a sustained amount of energy. So that's when you have things like brown bread. You're going to have fruit. You're going to have high protein meals. But if you eat something like, I don't know, ice cream, burgers and fries, coffee, that's energy. You're burning of that pancreas. Now imagine doing it on a daily basis.
Which is why they say you shouldn't have those type of things at night before you sleep.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Any time
matter,
of day.
anytime.
Because thing is, you
But how do you cut it out? Everyone likes an ice cream.
once in a while, I'm not saying don't.
Once in a while,
Once in a
once
while,
every 2 days.
Once a week? Once a week? I mean,
Is that the same as a bar of chocolate?
yeah. I mean, there's so many diabetics who come to me and they're like, but you know what, now I've been diagnosed, you know what, I can't do this. I'm like, no, you...
So what about people like me included?
Yeah.
My number 2, Stacey. She loves a bar of chocolate.
It's okay.
I love a bar of chocolate or a bit, well, not really chocolate, but I like sweets. I like sweets. And I have this habit where I, obviously as entrepreneurs, we work all hours of the day. Sometimes I don't really stop or try and stop until about 11 p.m., midnight sometimes. I do sleep very, very late sometimes. Sometimes I just sit. And if I've got the laptop open, I'll have something like... I don't know, Suits or something playing on Netflix. So I'm not really watching, right? But it's just there in the background. Some background noise while I'm just doing a little bit. And that's kind of my downtime, right? So then I think, let me just grab a bag of sweets or something. My missus is she's very, very healthy, very anti-sweets and stuff here, but she's sleeping. So, she's with my daughter, so I'm getting, I mean, so I'm just gonna have a quick little nibble of some sweet. And I have this habit. I mean, I put my hands up and say that. But
you're shooting your energy levels up at that time. I know it's comforting. So psychologically, it's comforting. So I'm definitely for that.
I don't even think it's comfort. I think it's just I need to do something, or I just need to.
Why did you chew gum? That's what I say to a lot of people.
Would it satisfy the crave? Is it even a crave? I think
chewing.
it's a crave, actually.
It's chewing. It's
the fact
having
that I want to
something
do
in
it.
your mouth. Yeah, because I say to this so many people, like, they want to eat something, especially when they're at work and they're like, but I can't lose weight, and then I'm pre-diabetic. I'm like, just chew gum.
That's interesting. I never thought of it like that, actually. Because if it is just a chewing, I might try it for
Try it.
Yeah, I might try it and see.
And
see how it
sugar-free
goes.
gum. That way, also your teeth. Why do I have such good teeth?
Yeah.
I don't have that much sugar.
Yeah. Yeah, so we found that's
It's just chewing. And thing is, you don't want to. It's like you're starting your car engine at midnight. Like, no. Like,
but it is very much like that. Sometimes at 1 a.m. You know what I mean? I get angry because it gets like back in Latvia, anything after 8 p.m. you'd be rare to order something.
It's like Zambia.
You couldn't order things, right? And so to Latvia do it is a fantastic thing they do to stop people eating junk and stuff.
It's the old way. The old ways. That's what I say. Old is gold. The old ways have kept all the old. I always say, like, I look at my folks. My dad's 83. Bless him. He's healthy. my mom, also 70s, 80s, all good. I say, like, I was comparing them the other day to like these old Mercedes Benzes, you know, not these new ones now where it's like push to start. You know, those ones with the gear stick is here on the side, like the proper metal. I'm like, that's what you guys think, oh my God, you know, you can't compare yourself to these new models. Those new models will break down
100%.
when that button, the spring or whatever is not. I'm like, it was original. You know, you need to put a bit of oil in it. Those ones are the ones that last. And how do they last? Because they're the ones who are on their feet. They were moving. In Indian culture, they drink like ghee, you know, like all organic, whole grain, wholesome foods, like, and even wholesome thinking as well. Because that comes down, like, if your thinking is wholesome, your body will follow.
100%. But it's just like exactly how you're describing is how my mother is, right? And because my mother's like that, my father's like that. My mom is very, very healthy.
Us ladies keep the men in place.
Absolutely, yeah.
So your wife
It's so true. It's so true. And there's and so my mum is very much like that. She has a way. She's always been healthy and always done things a certain way. You try to avoid using oil and stuff like that. And so I get all that, right? But we're in a generation now where it's vastly different.
Yeah.
Everything is easily accessible. We are here in Dubai where I don't even go to the supermarket. I do a couple of clicks and within 11 minutes it's at my door. You know, it is that. And look, as a person in financial markets, I'm into technology. I love that. I love progression. I love development. I love how things are easy to access. I'm all about convenience,
100%.
right? And I convenience my life. Hence why gardener, cleaner, nannies, whatever I need, right? That's convenience because I need time. Right? I'd rather have my time than use my time to do certain things.
100%.
So I like convenience. But then there's a limit to convenience because living in Dubai has made me lazy that I don't even walk to the supermarket. Yeah. And look, I don't have my dog with me. No, when Badro's with me, okay, he forces me to walk because the boy needs a lot of walking. And we go for big walks. I don't even have him at the minute. So basically, you now ask me how much walking am I doing in a non-pedestrian country like Dubai?
500 steps?
You'd be lucky if I do 500. I'm actually jumping from here to the car door to go somewhere to then.
So here's my question to you. So if you have all this time, why don't you allocate 10 minutes in the morning to just a little walk in the garden, not in the garden, but wherever, even on like step where you are, 10 minutes, listen to a podcast, do 10 minutes at lunch, and you have time. It's not like you don't have time. You have excuses.
I do. Yes, you're right. I have excuses. Yeah, I have a lot of time. Actually, to be fair, I try to train as much as I can, especially back in Latvia. So again, it's also a culture difference in countries as well, right? Yeah. In Latvia, it is very it's a pedestrian country, so it's a lot of walking.
And there's a lot of nature there. So you feel more like...
So you get lost in the forest, you love it, and you just keep walking, right? And I learned that moving to Latvia. When I first moved to Latvia, I was telling my missus, I'm shattered. Can we go back? I'm tired. She goes, Priyesh, we've walked 50 meters. You know? But it was like that. And then I got my dog, and then my walking increased to the point where we just go for strolls all the time. It is very natural to go for walks after dinner or during the daytime. It is very natural.
It's like Zambia, we're the same.
And they look after themselves. The quality of food is very different. And everyone trains. So you would see a lot of, everyone knows, look at Russian women.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They look after themselves. Yeah. They look after themselves. And so that country is like that.
But then, hold on, let me just interject you there. But if a Russian lady goes outside of Russia, that doesn't mean she starts adapting.
Correct. She's still the same.
She's still doing the same.
It's discipline. Look here in Dubai, right? They're all like supermodels, right? Because that's what they're like. Yeah. And you're right, it is like that. And so I need to change.
It's a mindset.
I need to change that.
You're the one who teaches about mindset in
but,
trading.
But you got to do, yes, correct. But you see, back in Latvia, it's my wife is my biggest influence to go and do all of that kind of stuff. Yeah. If she wasn't there, would I do it myself? When I was younger, possibly yes. But as I'm now going to be 39, I am 39 by the time this goes out. December the 8th.
I was say birthday.
Yeah. Make it right down so we know you can get it my next birthday. And so, she is my biggest influence and motivation to go and do that because she does it, right? And so
you feel like it's human nature. You're more likely to do something because someone around you is doing it. But I think I'm going to give back your words. You can't really rely on other people. You have to rely on yourself, your mindset
100%.
and discipline.
Yep.
There's times where, I'm just like, I can't do it. I'm too tired. And you have to give yourself some grace as well. You can't just be like, you know what, I'm a machine. I'm going to do.
No,
training.
100%,
You can't.
100%.
You can't.
No.
If you just come off a flight and then you come to Dubai, like me, since I arrived, sugars have been a little bit on the crazy side, and I'm giving myself grace. I'm like, you're in a different country. It's hot outside. It's affecting insulin. Your different time zone, not as huge, but still. Your body's not a machine. You have to feel intuitively. But if you're consistently lazy and you're like, you have all the time, you can't then say, I won't do it because my wife's not around, for example.
100%. It's just an excuse.
From you. Yes.
Yeah, there's an excuse. And that's interesting that, because I wanted to mention that as well, because a lot of people look at me and think Priyesh does this and Priyesh does that. Listen, I'm the same as you. The same way I've described is probably a lot of people. A lot of you are exactly the same, right? And it's right to be like that, as in the sense that...
you're a human being.
100%.
You're not a human doing, you're a human being.
100%, right? And so hopefully that's relatable to everyone as well. And so even me, I also need that push, that kick up the backside to get certain things done.
But that's
right?
where humans live in community. Again, going back to old as gold, they lived in communities. But there's a two-sided coin to that, because in community, you are going to adopt what everyone's doing, whether it's positive, negative. And this is where with like diabetes and what I'm doing, I'm focusing on communities of color, because in our communities, there's always these urban myths that people talk about. So like number one, because the lack of awareness of, like even this, just talking about type 1, type 2, and that's just you. Most people also don't know the difference. And the thing is, this is with the little information or the misinformation we have. And I imagine in like villages and places like that, like this is back home in Zambia, Africa, India, even here in Dubai, Arab communities, because everything is done in a group, right? So how people ate, how they live, all of that, it's been pushed down. So you're not ever going to challenge why you do certain things. You just do them, not realizing they're not necessarily healthy. So this is where urban myths come along. And so people, when they say, I become diabetic, a lot of people don't even want to say to their auntie or to their family members, I am diabetic. There's this weird stigma that's attached to it. And as a result, that's because of...
It's a negative stigma.
It's a negative
It's always been a negative stigma.
Yeah,
especially
because
in
they
our
think
cultures.
there's something wrong with you. You're defected. And this is why I'm like, but look what I've done with my life. And I had a thorn in my foot the whole time. And did I stop? No. So it's not a defect. In fact, actually, it's something that pushed me. And if it can push me, it can push you. Like, it's a mindset thing. There's times when I'm tired as well. But I mean, I have to be like, okay, give myself grace. I'm going to do this. But I never allow, and the reason I'm blessed with this, my folks, when they took me to South Africa and we got the diagnosis and then I came back, I literally just listened to them. And I listened to what the doctor said. There was never extra family members, this, that, what. And as a result, I didn't get roped into urban myths until I got older. And like, for example, I dated a guy, and at the end, things weren't working out. He was like, who would ever date a girl? Like, you can't even get married or have kids. And I was like,
whoa.
And like, we went to school together. So it's not like he's come from a village.
Shocking.
But that's when I realized his thinking, okay, it could have been obviously a bitterness on his side, but his thinking is coming from a cultural point of view, because in Indian communities, people are like, oh, look, she's sterile. I'm like, no, it's not affected anything else. It's just my pancreas. And to be honest,
such stupid.
But that's the thing. Until you break the myths, will continue until you throw in fact. And this is where I come in. I'm like, visually, I'm here. 33 years later, I am here, and yet we're still propagating thoughts from back then. We're living now, when the same person who's using these apps to pay for things online, and then you're going to think like someone in the 1900s. I'm sorry, it doesn't make any sense. So this is where I've come in. I'm like, because when you look online, people get this diagnosis and then they freak out, but then they have access to their phones. Dr. Google. And when they
Dr. Google.
Dr. Google is what it is. Yeah. Dr. Google. And I'm like, have we become so animatronic? We haven't come to human beings. That's why I am doing what I'm doing.
Convenience. We're talking about convenience, right?
This is maybe I should make myself an app.
You should. That's a great idea. Wait. That's a good idea.
AI avatar. No, I'm already figuring it out. An AI avatar, because I can't be everywhere all the time. I would love to be, but imagine talking to me all the time, and I'm like on screens. This is the NFT techie in me. I've already seen it because I'm an Aquarius. I'm 10 years ahead. We were talking about this earlier. I've always been 10 years ahead of the curve. And now I'm very into astrology and spirituality. We're moving to the age of Aquarius. For the next 20 years, this is my time. So just watch. I'm going to create myself an AI something.
Good. I still can't get my head around what he said to you.
I've heard that. No, there was another guy who's asked. No, wait. This gets better. One guy asked me, "Is it contagious?" No, like can you? And I was thinking, what do you like?
What do you mean contagious?
Like,
you're not coughing.
Yeah. No. Sorry, forgive me. He said, "Is it transferable?" And I'm like, "What? Like through blood transfusion, through like physical, through cough?" And I was like, and these are people who have studied in the Western world. This is what's got me into what I'm doing.
They say these things. Listen, look at the camera. This is my podcast, yeah? You see the person, or the two of you that said that, you're a fool. Yeah, you're a fool.
Well,
don't say that. Respect women, man. Don't talk like that. That's wrong, man. That don't sit right with me. You can't say those type of things, man.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm doing this because I don't want other women who don't. And I'm saying it's like I've got, in your words, the cojones to come up and say I'm diabetic and I've done XYZ with my life. I'm proud of myself. Like I'm so, like, damn, I done a lot. I'm tired, but I done it because I know at the end of my days I'll be like, that was a fun life, you know. But there's girls specifically with this kind of situation where they don't have the guts to say this, and then a guy comes and puts you down. Number one, maybe because you're a woman, but number two, because he doesn't have like the understanding. He's ignorant.
Very ignorant. Very ignorant.
And this is like me looking after like. Those are my babies, you know, all these like young women in general, but then also you don't have to be diabetic because this stuff will happen to women anyway, but then also diabetic girls, young girls, 5-year-old. I've got a 5-year-old, 7-year-old now, diabetic friend who you know, I'm trying to build so many of them. And I just want to be like their big sister, walking and say, look, I did it without any help. I had to be my own mentor. I can help you. If I can do it, so can you. Like, just keep me there. And I do that. Why I do this is because every day I do like this inner child work with myself. A lot of times I'm like, I see my baby self and she's here with me. Even right now, she's probably just in my corner, just be like, yay, we did so much. And it's a poignant place for me. It's yeah. You girls, you better go and do everything that you've been like given in this life. Just go for it. Don't let any man tell you wrong. And if they don't get it, they don't get it. Try and explain yourself, but you don't have to. He should love you because he loves you, even if you have something like this.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And so to wrap up this topic, where can people go to learn, to get a better understanding, to educate themselves on diabetes?
Use one of my AIs. No. So I feel like with my lived-in experience, I mean, you can go see a doctor. Please do. They will obviously give you the medications, etc. Something which I can't prescribe. But you can follow my website. I'm just setting up kaajalvaghela.com. But also I'm on Instagram. I'm Kaajal Vaghela on Instagram, but also its.by.kc. So I call it its.by.kc because it's like Beats by Dre. So its.by.kc. If anyone has questions, come to me there, follow me, follow what I do. And I have a lot of educational elements on that Instagram page. And then I have a free 15-minute chat. We talk about what you need. I do some coaching with them. And then we see where you're at, because I try to because every diabetic is different, and I try to make it more tailored to what is for you. Because some people, more recently, I've had more people not even dealing with the diabetes. It's just the acceptance of diabetes. So many people are just failing to accept that they've received this diagnosis. So actually, it's not even about the lifestyle. It's more psychological. So I work with I know this sounds very woo-woo, but affirmations, some affirmations, or just having the conversation, working through scripts, with family members to say, I have this, what do I do? Because a lot of people, they think it, and they think it, and they think it, it's in their head, but it comes out, and it's yeah, they don't know what to do. So we work through that. So it just depends on where you are. And I do a tailored process. So either we do an 8-week course, or we can just do a one-off call. Maybe it's a girl, her mom is looking at her, and she's become gone through her menstrual cycles, and she's trying to figure out her insulin at that point. We have a 1-hour session. We can figure that out too. Mm. So I'm setting up, it's in the process right now, kaajalvaghela.com. All my courses are there. And on Instagram, its.by.kc.
Okay. So all of the stuff, all of the links, everything will be in the description. Just click the description and everything will be there. Right. So let's move on. Fashion.
Yes.
So I love fashion and you love fashion.
Yes.
Right. So talk to us about your fashion ventures.
Where it started, or what I'm doing now?
Where it started and where it's got to.
So I grew up in my dad's factory. So my dad has a factory in Zambia. He started in 1962, 2 years before independence. So my dad is, I'm standing on some great shoulders, and sometimes it feels a bit heavy. But I grew up in that factory, like hearing the machines whirring. I used to play in the fabrics. We've been doing school uniforms for Zambian government, like schools, for the longest time. And then I grew up in that factory. I said, you know what? So I studied fashion merchandising, because I wanted the business side of it. I'm more of a visionary than like sitting and sewing. But I know what commercially works, etc. So I studied fashion. I came back and I'm like, right, I'm going to just, start up my brand and, work at I'll be with my dad's factory. Nope. My dad is my boss. He made me work. And you know what? He was like, okay, fine, you want to do your suits? So I started off with tailor-made suits, because that's what our tailor's forte was. We have tailors from India, having learned British tailoring. So I was like, ooh, I know the market works for expats in Zambia. So imagine, and they come to Zambia because they want that kind of African experience, but also like there's so much opportunity to grow. So I was like, they want something that's European, but something that's also slightly Zambian, to say, this is where I work. So I made like full-blown like blue suit, gray suit, black suit that you're going to wear in the office. But then let's just say you are on a plane or you come back to Europe and you take it off, and on the inside you got like the African fabric. That was my go-to. I've always done a beautiful fusion between the two, because I'm a fusion myself. Everyone thought I was mad, because I also know that like the pricing I put at, it was a lot higher at the time. Everyone thought I was mad. And till today, 10 years, 12 years later, every tailor in Zambia now is making suits out of that local fabric. And I'm like, guys, I was 10 years early. But it's fine. So what happened was, it was doing well. I had a little store in Zambia as well. And then over time, again, as I said, my dad's my boss. He brought in an embroidery machine. In fact, he got me to research. And this man is hilarious. Like, I love him, but sometimes I'm like, he was like, Kaajal, we want to do corporate branding. So, start researching embroidery machines. And I'm looking at him, because I think also in his head, as an Indian father, he's probably like, why is my daughter back here in Africa? Like, she should have just stayed in the UK, got married and got married and kids. And I'm like, well, you don't bring up a woman who's been educated abroad and who's got a mind of her own, So anyways, I started researching. And then my dad, again, little birdie, he's like, why did you look for like a Japanese machine? I'm like, okay, found something. Then I was like, oh, Dad, I found something that's actually based in South Africa, but it's a Japanese machine. Showed it to him. He's like, yeah, this is great. We've been working with this company for a long time. And I'm like, this whole runaround for what? But what I love about that whole situation is he's instilled a hard work ethic in me. Like, he's not going to give it to me on a plate. I know that if ever I want something, I know how to like fight for it. If I need to, I have the brain power and I have, the capacity. It's not like he's left me, but he'll be like, look, I can guide you, but you need to know how to do it yourself. And this is something which I at some point will, give to my kids, but I also do it with, again, comes down to the diabetes as well. I guide people, but I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm just going to say, try it like this, but everyone has to learn on their own. So in order to have supplemented my brand, I started running this embroidery machine, and it's running till today. I train girls. I've trained people who've never even used a USB stick, let alone a computer.
Wow.
So again, being able to speak the way I speak, but then also break it down for, local Zambians, but then speak to Chinese suppliers and Japanese suppliers. I think it's good to be versatile like that, which I'm proud of myself for. But this is a whole 10 to 12 year process. And in that time, I started doing customized caps for a lot of the local musicians, because I like DJs, I like music people, and like I'm a human Shazam, so I'm always like around my friends and get music, and then we start playing music. So they wanted customized caps, and it started growing. People wanted flat caps, and then I started my brand with that, and then I went into hoodies and started going into like the streetwear vibe. And I was literally about to make an order from South Africa. Again, Zambia, given that we're the best factory there, we still can't work with stretch fabric. So the closest place is supplier is South Africa. Went there, looked at fabrics, etc. And then I was heading to the UK to see my sister for 3 weeks. Packed a bag for 3 weeks, and that was March 2020. What happened at the end of March 2020?
Coronavirus.
Yeah. And so because Zambia is in Africa. It was red listed. And also
yeah,
me
of
being
course, of
diabetic,
course, of
everyone's
course.
like, we don't know what's going to happen.
So you cannot, yeah.
And then with the way I am, as I'm a social entrepreneur as well, so I'm always out and about. And given that my parents are elderly, they were like, Kaajal, if you go back to Zambia and then you're out and about and you catch it from someone and then you give it to the folks, then what? So I had to stay in the UK. My sister's single mom. So she was worried. Again, the media really painted such a horrible picture. Like literally, you touch your phone, you touch it like a letter that comes to your post. You just do this and now you're dead.
It was the most ridiculous thing that ever
so
happened.
Irrational.
So ridiculous, yeah.
And so she was worried because she's a single mom. She's like, if something happens to me, what happens to my son? So I was like, okay, I guess I'm like, the glorified babysitter because I'm not, attached to anyone. So like most of my siblings all married with, kids. So they were like, well, you move around. So I stayed there with my sister. I thought, a month, 2 months. Bearing in mind, I hadn't moved any monies over. I've still got my business going on in Zambia. I was in a relationship at the time. There was so much going on. And at 3 months, I'm thinking, what is going on? And especially as a creative, I was losing my mind. And a creative and a social creator, I'm like, I don't know what to do. So that's when I started like looking at online courses. I had like prints on my phone. So I said, let's see if I can break down these prints. I started creating my own Zambian fabrics, Chitenge fabrics. And then I was like, you know what? I really miss home. I really want to wear that color here in the UK. But again, like my suits, in subdued ways. So imagine like a hoodie, but like the inside or the hood just has the print. So when someone wears a hoodie, in that time everyone had moved from suits and shirts to wearing stretch and leisure wear during the pandemic because everyone was working from home. So I was like, imagine like leggings or like hoodies, but with a touch of like the African fabric, much like my suits. So I managed to, again, I was old school. I was going to like suppliers, walking through London with my mask, and everyone was working from home. So I kept on knocking on doors and like there was
no one around.
No one's around. So again, work ethic from my dad. You go and knock on doors, physical doors. Then I started emailing people, calling them. But again, my Zambian kwacha to British pound, didn't move any money over. And then suddenly I'm thinking, why am I paying 20 times the amount for my cost price as opposed to Zambia? So it was a really tough time because I'm like, I need to like get out this creative energy and put it into something. But what do? I tried caps, I tried beanies. And then I finally found a factory within Europe that could allow me to make like individual pieces. And then I would create like upload my African design and put it on leggings, hoodies, t-shirts, etc. And then like some pieces came and suddenly I was like, oh my God, my dream of having stretch African fabric, chitenge, to put it onto functional material, which is sportswear, which again then came back to my diabetes. I'm always in the gym. I'm like, I feel this is more me than my suits ever. So then what happened was like trying to find the right color palette. How do I sell it? And then suddenly I was able to learn Shopify. Again, I did everything myself during the pandemic. Shopify, my own pictures, my own drop shipping, learning trading, signed to a model agency. I did everything because I had so much energy in me. Because what's happening in the world? And what irritated me more is everyone's like, oh, it's pandemic, we can't do anything. And I'm like, yes, you can. There's so much you can do. So that's how the clothing changed from suits to sportswear, but still the same ethic of something that's of the world, but it's got a touch of Africa to it. Because that's me. I'm of the world, but a touch of Africa to me. So I was like, but this is something which everyone can wear. It's stretch fabric, it's sports. Everyone had moved into health and wellness anyway. And it just grew. And so, but the problem was because I was in the UK and didn't know enough, again, you couldn't socialize. And I'm a people person. I couldn't create my groups with like influencers and models and photographers, etc. So it took me quite a while. And when I finally went back to Zambia, again, it was in short trips. People there are very, like, they were excited about my brand anyway. So I worked with a lot of photographers, a lot of local influencers. But the thing is, the influencers are moving really well in Zambia right now. And so I managed to get them to start wearing my brand, and it's now picked up, and now we've moved into a second print. And the print, we literally just launched it at the end of last month because it was Zambia Independence Day and it was 60 years. Wow. So it's like homage to also my dad's business being around for 60 years, but also the print it means unity. Now it's a Ghanaian print. So the thing is, I wanted to not just be Zambian, because the diaspora is really my target audience. It means everyone. But the diaspora are those people like myself who are living abroad, but they miss home.
Right.
So when they wear something, they're wearing the country on the back.
So
it doesn't have to. You don't have to be Zambian. You can be South African. You can be Nigerian. You can be East African, wherever you're from. So that Ghanaian symbol meant it's called Nesirewe, which means unity. And forgive me, any Ghanaians, I've said it wrong. It means unity and harmony. And for me, my themes in the clothing brand have always been around community. So the first collection was called Zikomo. Now in Nyanja, in Zambia, Zikomo means thank you. But during the pandemic, it was my way of telling my community, those following me, my audience, thank you for waiting for me. Thank you for letting me pivot. And it's also like during the pandemic, people lost family members. They lost, friends to COVID. And it's like, what are you grateful for on a day-to-day basis? Are you grateful for life? Are you grateful for your health? So that's why Zikomo came along as grateful. So this one, I've called it umodzi, meaning together. And again, that symbol means unity. And it also plays on the national anthem. And a lot of African national anthems have unity in there.
Right.
So I was trying to bring like all of Africa together. And like now with the diabetes work I'm doing, I'm focusing on all of Africa as well. So it all kind of comes together, but it's all sportswear now because it's more me as opposed to suits. Like I can't really sell, I can sell my suits, but me wearing sportswear in a funky way, like when I'm on a talk and
it's more you.
It's more me,
right.
It's versatile. So that's where my fashion comes from. It's not just me sketching. It's like I see it in life, commercially, visually, visionary wise. That's what I see with metal.
And where can people get hold of this, Kobe?
KCVaghela.com. So on there, you just make your order. And then given that you're in a Western country or somewhere in the world, just put your address in and it gets sent to you. But if you're in Dubai, I don't know if it comes straight to you. A lot of people here, when they bring things in, they put it through like courier companies. So like for Zambia, I keep telling everyone, I'm like, send it to a UK depot and then they have a courier company that brings it in. But rest of the world, just put your address in and get sent to you.
Perfect. So again, link in the bio for that one, guys. And then Kaajal mentioned that during her learning phase, she learned trading.
Yes.
Right. So I want to take it back a little bit to the diabetes section where when you spoke about the yo-yo effect, because something you mentioned that made me think. And that's why I wanted to bring it back to trading. So stress levels, pressure, etc., will give you the upward spike, right? So let's say as an example, on a normal day-to-day, I'm analyzing, that's just normal. Now I'm waiting for a data release.
Yeah.
Naturally, when a data release comes out, everybody goes quiet, heart starts to really beat 2-3 times as the speed. I'm going to assume that's the up.
Yeah.
Right, that's the up. How do
Anticipation.
How do I and how do other traders and other investors control this? Or can we ever control that?
Yeah, you can. Obviously you can't control the environment, but you can control your reaction to the environment and the stresses. So if that means I'm big on doing breath work. So if it means taking a minute and just doing, I do a really quick 3-minute meditation. I did it at my talk in London. People tend to think, I need to breathe. They go to like Bali for 2 hours. Like it can be quick and simple. I'm all for quick, short, effective. Take a few minutes to just center yourself. I've actually learned something more recently about tapping. And tapping is like you tap here, you tap here. What happens is these are acupressure points. And sometimes when you're stressed, you are overthinking, you're overheating the engine. So what do? You need to press those points because otherwise there's certain points here, certain points here. There's a guys you can follow on YouTube. But I find that you can sit there and breathe, but at some point if you're like a very active person, that breathing can just stop you for a second, but then you'll go back to what you're feeling. So sometimes when you're in the panic mode, like some people are panicking before they're trying to make a trade, they're like, do I miss it?
100%.
In those moments, like, take a deep breath. So there's again, always tapping is one thing, but also they say when you're like for me, if I'm about to go on stage, some say the same stress is like if you're about to place a trade, is when you take a deep breath in, take that extra second breath. It helps you regulate your vagus nerve, and the vagus nerve is like the big nerve going all the way down your back, and then a slow release. And you want to do a longer. If you're doing 4 seconds in, you want to do 6 to 7 seconds out.
Right.
We don't realize a lot of our stress that's the culmination of all this dysregulation. So if you can regulate that.
Because there's something I could incorporate when I'm doing my live trading with all the students.
Breathing.
Something that I could say like 5 minutes before the actual release comes out. Let's do this. Let's calm the.
Centers,
let's
isn't
calm. Because I think for on a personal note for me, I don't think it's necessarily stress. It's pressure. It's. I know there's a lot of eyeballs on me, right? I am single-handedly one of the main or biggest factor of everyone earning.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what happens with me. It's the pressure of having to be right.
Yeah.
I guess all the time, right?
But you don't mean your crystal ball is not.
So there's a long-standing joke that I have this miracle crystal ball that I just rub and seem to just know what's gonna happen, right? And it is great. I don't have a crystal ball. I like to think I'm very good at what I do. And so and it's interesting to say that. So I'm going to ask you the question now. So how do you cope with the pressures and stresses of trading and investing, with obviously being type 1 diabetic?
I do a lot of these breathing exercises because, again, we're human beings, not human doings. And so if you are not in one place, you're going to make bad decisions. You're going to make harsh decisions, rash decisions. You're the one who tells us, like, don't. It's not an emotional game. No, it is emotional. It is emotional.
Yeah.
But you teach us not to make those decisions harshly.
Yes,
like
not impulsive decisions.
If you've missed the move, you've missed the move because it's circular, it's cyclical. It'll come back. So again, with life, in moments, if you've missed it, you just let it go. It's done. It's done. So it's taking those. You'd rather take those 1 or 2 minutes before than rushing and then messing up something for the next 1 year, 6 months, trade-wise. You'd rather just take those 2 minutes and calibrate yourself. So when I say I'm okay with losing, it's not losing. It's just waiting for the right ones.
Right.
And that doesn't mean just trading. It means everything.
Yeah. Because there's also this kind of running joke when I'm explaining, even in my webinars, when I'm explaining trading to some people, and I said that everybody thinks it's a technical game, but it's an emotional game. And I said that your blood pressure is going to rise. And we laugh about it, right?
Yeah,
but it's kind of true.
Yeah. But it is technical in the sense, if you follow the fundamentals, and that's also with diabetes, healthcare. Like if you, for example, like a couple of weeks ago, I was about to miss my running club on Sunday morning because I was upset about something the night before. And I'm like, no, Kaajal, even if you're tired, just go because it'll make you feel better. But I was so tired. Again, sugars. I mean, I don't do this all. Sometimes if my body says no, my body says no. When I went there, my friends were like, this is how you build muscle memory, because it's like when you go to the gym, you're tearing the muscle. But if you just keep leaving it, you're not building that discipline, So you need to build that resistance and that training mind. So same thing with everything we're doing. Like you need to have those structures in place, because if you don't, you're all over the place. You need to have you can be all over the place within the structures because that's life. But if you have those fundamentals, it works. Again, eating on time, having enough sleep, those kind of things. Same thing with trading. For example, like you told us this, to automate your investments. So you don't want to be thinking on a monthly, weekly basis.
No need.
Just have it in the background.
That's it.
And you just check it once a month, once every 2 months. It takes the emotions out because it's on automatic.
100%. It's on autopilot, right?
Yeah.
And so it's the least amount of work for the most amount of income.
Exactly.
Right? You put your money in place, let it build so that you don't always have to keep checking. And another thing, going back to trading, for a lot of you guys who feel a lot of pressure and stress, and you feel like your blood pressure is rising, and there's a lot of emotion with the trading, there's a couple of factors here. Number one, when you're comfortable and confident, and you're in control, you won't suffer from a lot of these things, right? Or it'll be very marginal, because if you've learnt this and you know this and you've done that, you've put yourself in the best possible position to win in that trade, right? So you stand the best chance. That's why you'll be a lot more calmer. When you haven't learned this and you don't know this is more of a guess. This is more revenge trading. This is what's going to cause you to panic, all right? Because you're not really sure. And when you're not really sure and you start panicking, that's when all your health emotions take over. And that's when it can be quite detrimental if you're not so careful. That's why, because a lot of suicide, a lot of deaths, it's directly related to finance and the amount of money people lose, right? And this comes down to, I guess, again, a lot of gambling, a lot of revenge trading, thinking they can beat the casino, thinking you can beat the trading markets and stuff like that, right?
It's funny how you talk about like revenge trading and all of that, because again, I showed you a chart, right? I deal with my charts every day as much like how you deal with charts all the time. So for example, if the sugars have gone high, a lot of people are like, I need to take the insulin. They'll take a crap load. And then again, it's like a revenge trade. But what happens is that insulin stacks up and then you have a low sugar overnight. And so now you're just all over the place. So if you think, okay, you know what? If I take my insulin now, it still has 2 hours to work. As you say, like you still have to wait. You have to catch the moments. You have to think, and that only comes with experience. What I'm doing is I'm trying to teach people where to see it, like how you're teaching people where to see it so you can anticipate and just ready to. That's how it is with diabetes insulin too. On a daily basis, I am trading my health because I have to think, you know what, my sugar, like last night I had pizza. Usually sugars like go high. I took 2 units because I shouldn't have. I mean, it was high. But I thought about it all together. There was a salad. It was all healthy. And it was a thin pizza. I had a low sugar overnight. Again, because I decided to think I was being careful overnight. But actually, it was a revenge trade because I'm like, no, the sugars are high. Let's bring it down. I should have just waited.
Right. Interesting.
It's the same thing.
That's really interesting. Yeah. No, really interesting. And then what I want to leave this podcast on is, do you have any, I wanted to talk about tech as well. We've run out of time, and there's a lot that we can talk about. We might need to get you back on again. But I want to talk a little bit about tech. I want to talk a little bit about NFTs. I want to talk about a lot of things that obviously I have a lot of interest in, touch more about trading and investing as well. So I think we're going to have to get you back on, Kaajal. But lastly, for this one, is there anything you would like to ask me? Actually, this is a question I should get everyone else to prep, because actually what people don't know is everything that I ask, everything that we talk about, it's not scripted. Everything is off the cuff. The person that I am speaking to actually has no idea what I'm going to say, where I'm going to come from, what angle, etc., etc. So, because I don't want it to be scripted, all right? That's the natural thing that we want to go down. And so that's but what I will do is tell everybody, because I like to ask this question, is think of it before you guys come, so you lot can actually think of a great question. So if there's anything you'd like to ask me, ask me.
Why do you like doing your hair like this?
Why do I like doing my hair? I like my hair. I have so many different hairstyles, right?
What's your favorite then?
My favorite hairstyle? I don't think I have a favorite hairstyle. I think that...
Because I met you in your Tesco days, and you had short, just regular straight cut.
Yeah.
And buzz cuts.
Yeah. I used to have loads of... I've had so many different hairstyles throughout my life. I don't think there's anything that I particularly say is a favorite. I think it's more just how I feel at the time, and I just like to switch it up. And so I always have different hairstyles.
Does it hurt?
Does it hurt?
Yeah. No?
Okay. It doesn't hurt. Okay. If it's done correct, it shouldn't hurt, right?
I wasn't sure if it was like pulling.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. So when you're getting your hair done, if you cane row, your braids or whatever, and there's obviously a pull at the start. But then once everything is done, there is a process to this. So to get your hair like this, this obviously took me about 2.5 hours.
Okay, no, that makes sense, because I was with my girl during the week and she was getting her braids done.
Yeah, so it's about 2.5 hours. But that's just this.
Wow.
Right? Then there was half an hour before for my beard and all this.
Wow.
Like what you don't see is the other side, right?
Oh yeah.
And then there's the behind my actual bandana. There is actually another part to my hair as well, and that's another half an hour after.
Wow.
So it's half an hour, and then 2 hours for this. So let's say you can probably say about 3 hours in total.
Wow. That's like more than a lady might take.
And two different people, right? Wow. And two different people that do this. So shout out to Fade and Play. Always look after me in Dubai.
Good.
And so so no favorite hairstyle, just whatever I fancy at that time.
I want to ask something completely like.
Go for it.
No, that was what.
Oh, this was. Oh,
yeah.
right.
Exactly. Rather than us talking about heavy stuff, let's just talk about light stuff. You know.
Cool, yeah. All right, guys. So thanks, Kaajal, for coming on, guys. And that's the end of this episode of Memoirs of a Trader. Again, I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Leave your comments, likes, make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Take care.
So my sugars are still high, so we're gonna top up some insulin. So I'm gonna take like 2 units. So here's my insulin pen. Just after this podcast, I'm gonna take my air shot. That's out. So 1, 2, and just that little drop. One drop can make me go high or low very easily. So here we go. And Excuse me. I'm putting it in my trouser because a bodysuit is not going to help me. Oh, I just dropped the cover. Some people inject in their arm, but I don't have a lot of fat on my arm and it needs to go into fat.
Right.
So, ladies have a bit more subcutaneous fat around the hips. So here we go. So that, excuse me, let me get the cover. And, close. Done.